So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our beautiful intimate conversation viewers around the globe. And thank you for chiming in. If you do feel compelled to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I would appreciate that very much. To have you join me is beautiful. All right, so today we have another guest, obviously, on our series of intimate conversations. And today's guest is Tanya Miller. So welcome, Tanya.
Well, welcome. Thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here.
Look, you're so welcome. And as with all of these chats, I love it because we get to, find out more about you, how your life rolled. And, a big part of intimate conversations is actually honouring the pioneers who've been holding this light for the planet and humanity for a very long time. And that's why you're sitting in that seat there with us. So thank you for coming in and sharing yourself and your story. So I'm just going to introduce you to those who may not know you. So Tanya Jan Miller brings a wealth of experience as a teacher of young children, having spent years immersed in the world of education, fun and discovery. Her passion lies in fostering excitement for learning and creativity among others. Embarking on a new adventure, Tanya is dedicated to supporting adults in uncovering the genius of the child within, fostering each individual's understanding of abundance, grace, and wisdom. With a commitment to authenticity, she bravely exposes her own vulnerabilities, granting others permission to do the same. Through this shared journey of unveiling uncomfortable truths and hidden aspects, Tanya cultivates a space of genuine compassion and love, enabling the release of fear, doubt, and judgment. Tanya seeks to bring back the childlike fun and innocence into play. A life life accelerator and permission to play. So I will carry on from that with the chat with you, and you can explain a little bit. You've brought out a book, so we want to talk about your book. We want to have all that sort of conversation. So the first place I like to start, Tanya, is, were you a consciously aware child? Like, did you know what you were here for? Did you know you were more than this physical body? Those sorts of things. And if so, how is the dynamics in your family with that? Or not with that?
So that really brings up emotion for me. I was about 6 or 7 when I realized that, I was here to do something bigger. Well, I don't know. That's just what I felt in my being as a child. I grew up on a sheep farm, so I had this understanding that when I looked into the eyes of the animal in front of me, I could hear the words. And so from that, I always had some sort of communication with animals. And I spent a lot of time on the farm as a little young girl. And going to school, oh my gosh, I loved the children. I loved playing. I loved being part of all of it. And as I grew and become more of an adult, it was my drive or my passion was, I believe that the children are our future. And I've always believed that holding space or helping children and like maybe educating people, as a kid, I couldn't understand, why are companies allowed to make like stuff that is not biodegradable? Why are we filling our lives with all this stuff that can't be fixed or can't be reused? And so as a kid, I basically grew up wondering why there was not rules around that kind of stuff. And also I was a total rule breaker. I just didn't see the stupid rule making any sense. So
Me too. Yeah. Senseless rules, some of them. And I was definitely that kid too, disruptive, didn't care that it disrupted. It was actually good because, let's shake it up a bit and see what happens. No.
Yeah. I was
Mm,
the naughty kid in the class in
me
some
too.
ways. Like I used to get the strap when they used to give out the strap. It would be like, and I can't spell. That's one thing I really struggle with.
Yeah.
And I used to like be able to bluff my way
Yeah.
through quite a lot of stuff. Like teachers would think I'd done the work or I understood. And so as a teacher myself, I can so see those children.
I bet you can. I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You do see these spirited kids, and you think, yeah, good on you. It's like, yay.
Yeah, yeah. Like yesterday, oh my gosh, I was in class, so I was relief teaching, and I had this beautiful little girl. I read my story to the class, and it's always a really good conversation starter. And I had this one little girl, so I basically said to them, "Okay, so I'm an author, but I can't spell." And they were like, "What? You can't spell?" I was like, "No, we've got computers; they can help us do that."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, how did you do the pictures?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, we've got AI. So I could do the pictures, but I've got AI." And then this one little girl, bless her, she came up to me and she said, "I don't really want to talk to people that much. I just like the animals." And
Mm,
I just like had these tears pouring down my face. I was like, "Yeah, I hear you."
yeah, absolutely. And I get that with the farm. I grew up on a sheep farm too. And there's such I just love nature. I love what it is and that we are it, and the connection that you can, like you say, you could look into the eyes, but you hear the words, you hear the mind, the connection there, the telepathy that was going on, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So were your parents awake onto it in the sense of spirit and all of that too, Tanya? Like,
So Tanya still gets shut down, and I'm still trying to find the adult Tanya that can stand up to my parents. It's really interesting. It's
yeah.
still part of my process. And this whole, basically I left home when I was 14 and went
Yep.
private boarding. And I only go back for fleeting visits. And I'm kind of the one that picks up the carpet, shakes it, and
Yeah.
runs away. But since COVID, there's like a family member on every corner of the carpet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really welcome back in, and I've been accused of attacking. And so, it's like, oh, okay, how do I be seen in that now? I don't know.
Mm. It's an interesting thing. I think I know from me anyway, from my experiencing through it, is that I know who I am, right? And I actually am at a point, and I have been for a very long time, that I don't actually need anyone to see me in that anymore. I don't need to be seen. I don't need to be recognized. I am this. People see me, they see me. If they don't, they don't. And I don't feel like I have to try and tell people or make people see things the way I see them anymore. Um, so being in amongst, because that's what I've just come through as well in this journey in the past couple of weeks, is going back into all that old world. And they're very much like those people, four corners of the carpet. They're very much on that. And there's just this recognition within me now that they are not interested. They just aren't. I've made their decisions. They're happy with their life, even if they're not happy. I see it all, and I can see where they're struggling and all those things, but they're not the sort of people that are going to do anything that I might offer, or in any word even, or even sessions, in my toolkit. It's like they're just not those people. So you just leave them to it, like actually, and allow them to do what they need to do for them, get through it. And it's hard to watch when you know that you have the ability within you to be able to assist them out of that pain and out of that suffering. But if it's that thing, take a horse to water, you can't make it drink. So I've come to that place where I'm not battling within myself over that anymore. And that's COVID did that. COVID helped me to move into that place, and having to stand in the garden and watch my father die in the room, and that's in the rest home, because of COVID and the stupid rules they had there, the senselessness of it and the cruelty. And it taught me, it brought me back to remembering we are energetic, we're energy, we're vibration, we are light. And that's how I communicated with Dad. I was with him the whole time, energetically, not physically, and he knew that. So for me, it just brought me back to the reality of who we really are, and that actually the physical form, even though it's very necessary and it's a huge part of our journey here, absolutely, because we are in it, is that sometimes it's about just remembering our other parts of us, you know, the fuller parts, the aware part, and not fighting in that world so much anymore. It's me anyway. Because it's not healthy, you know, it's just not healthy.
Yeah,
And
and I just want to ask, was it your father's passing that really kind of moved you into that space of going, oh yeah, okay, I really get it now?
it was a reminder. I've always worked like that. Like my youngest daughter, who's now 27, she never did anything medical. She would not take antibiotics. She would just not do it, right? So she, even though that's not what I wanted to have to do, but sometimes I'd get scared and think, oh God, I need to take her to the doctor, and she needs some antibiotic. But otherwise, I always work with prayer. I cleansed our water tank with just prayer and gratitude. And then when we moved out of that place and the people that bought it moved in, she got very, very sick from the water, the tank of water, you know. So it proved stuff to me all the time, and that we just need energetically to work with everything. And it just was a reminder with Dad. It was hard. Oh my God. I screamed
Yeah.
so loudly in my car on my own because I was so frustrated at these stupid rules, and that how dare they stop us from being together. Like actually in a crucial moment of time like that, and in his journey, it was just cruel. So yeah, it took a bit to get through. I can feel at times I have this little rage that rises in me from it, but I'm getting through that. It's a process, of course, but yeah, but I go back to the truth of it, that actually he was okay. He knew I was there with him. He absolutely knew. So there wasn't anything that I was missing out on, actually. You know, nothing. I didn't miss out on anything with him. So yeah, was just being that authority again that comes over, you know, how we were the rebel children. That's it. That was them telling me that I couldn't do that. That was the bit that really annoyed me. Like, tell me I can't, I'm going to break your bloody fences down and jump them, and I'm going to do all these. I was like planning all these real things, like actually. And then it was this, no, don't create a whole lot of drama, you know, like rah, rah.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I have to come back to is like, okay, Tanya, don't create that drama. You don't need to create that drama. It's not serving the purpose. Like, honestly, I grieved my family on a really deep, deep level.
Yeah.
Because I was not welcome. And I really haven't been that welcome since. And every now and again, when I end up talking to them on the phone, it like brings that little bit of rage or that little bit of, oh my gosh, it comes back up, and it's like,
it's rejection.
It is rejection.
Yeah, totally that. It's a hard thing to, you know, because actually, Tanya, we go through life trying to be accepted by everything and everyone.
Yeah.
We give ourselves over to be accepted, and we're trying to fit into their ideal of us. And that's when I stopped doing all that, man, I felt so free. It's like I don't actually care who likes me, who doesn't. I'm just me. If you doesn't resonate, jog on. That's all.
And
You know?
and that's the thing that I feel personally for myself is a lifelong journey of loving myself even more.
Yes.
and loving myself on that deeper, deeper, deeper level. And that whole the whole agenda around and I will call it an agenda, sexuality has been quite a massive one for me, because I was the tomboy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, it would be easier to be a boy. Da, 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 da. As a kid, I thought, oh yeah, being a boy would be cool. And now they're like playing into it, into
Yeah.
that whole little
Switch the gender.
switch the gender. And oh my gosh, I just want to say to people, it's a lifelong learning of loving ourselves on a deeper and deeper and deeper level. And
Yes.
for whatever reason, all these triggers come up, to just check, is your garbage can empty or still got something in there, right? Tip it out. It's like, oh my gosh, I've got more to tip out.
And it is like that. Like things come in all the time to show us where we're up, what we're, where we're up to within ourselves. Um,
Mm,
and it's about being really honest and real,
yeah.
facing that shadow, because we've all got it. We're all rebels at heart. Our soul came in this time for freedom. And so we weren't going to go under the thumb of anyone. And if we did, we've been really annoyed with ourselves. So it's just, yeah, it's just, when I was going to say about the dad thing, with that, I knew, like, I wanted to just annihilate people. I have that part in me that just wants to do that sometimes, and because of the senseless authority, but I chose me. I choose me more and more all the time. Well, all the time now, I just choose me. I feel into, do I want to feel that way? Do I want my body to feel like that now? No, I don't. Okay, so switch it, because there's a choice in it, and I've run all the anger and stuff for all my life, frustration and anger through this world and what it's doing and how people roll and how there's such little kindness, which isn't the truth. There's such huge kindness. But, you see when you're in that space, you're seeing only the little bit that you do see, and it's more about the atrocities that are happening. And I choose now even to not look at that anymore. I don't need to witness that anymore. All I know about it. Don't need to learn anything more from it. It's not who I am. It's not who I choose to be. And it's not what I wish to feel in my body anymore. So I can only do that because I've done my cellular work and I haven't got triggers that will draw me back in. But there's a choice when I stand on the edge of it. Do I want to engage into this? Do I actually want to put all my energy into that and feel like that? Or don't I? And often I don't. I just walk away. Just allow them to be where they are. They've got to go through what they've got to go through to learn what it is they need to learn, as we did. We went through some horrendous stuff that I remember people saying to me, Mandy, what are you doing? You don't need to do that. Oh, yes, I do. I do. For whatever reason, I do. Might seem ridiculous, but I do. Yeah.
And it's that whole, okay, so here's another lesson. Am I learning? Yes, I'm learning. Am I getting stronger? Yes, I'm getting stronger. Has it been easy? No way.
No, not at all. Not at all. So Tanya, so from a young child, you were aware of that you were more than the physical form, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
How did you come into working with it? Like, how did you, tell us about your child? Like, you were mandated out of the educational thing, and around the COVID.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I guess my first kind of real I need to clear stuff was when my son was born.
Yep.
And he was 7 months old when my relationship with his dad separated. And
Okay.
I had been traveling the world, teaching abroad, living this amazing life. And then I went boom against the wall and I went, whoa, okay, what's going on here? So that took me into the journey work by Brandon Bays.
Yes.
And for me, it was just such a gift. And I still use it. I still love it. And
Yeah, I do too. Love it.
I love And I use the campfire daily with the children when I'm in schools, because the campfire
Beautiful.
is a nice way. It's a beautiful conflict resolution. And the kids, like yesterday, I did it 3 times.
Yeah,
That's
gorgeous.
and that's how fast it is. It's like, okay, so what do you want to say? What do you want to say? What's happening? What's it? Don't talk to me. It's not my issue. Like, teachers always get involved in kids' issues.
Kids are quick, eh, when they're going through it. It's like
So quick. It's like,
we
here's
have this big
what's done.
story and they use 3 words and they're done.
Oh, I'm sorry. And usually they'll have tears pouring down and they'll shake hands and off they go. Whereas if I'm trying to sort it out, like, I just need to get out of the way. So yeah, in terms of that, so the journey took me into really facing myself
Yeah.
and going, okay, so I entered this relationship. I have this beautiful child. How did I get here? And I had a court order placed on me to stay in Auckland. And like, as a gypsy, I felt like my wings had been clipped. And I was like, okay, I have to find a different way to fly.
Yeah.
And so doing journey work basically really helped me fly. And then I spent a lot of time in the Waitakere Ranges,
Yeah.
and the trees started talking to me, and I was like, oh, okay, good. Oh, I miss them. But yeah, so that's kind of what shifted all of that. And then I've kind of always been aware that things may not be what they seem.
Yeah.
And I just carried on, got back into teaching, did that. And when the COVID malarkey came along, my son went and got vaccinated, which, oh my gosh. And I was like, oh, well, I'm going to lose my job. I might as well go do it. And I asked my body, I said, okay, what about this arm? We'll get it tomorrow. I'll drive down. All good. What do you think, body?
Tanya.
I
Yeah.
couldn't, I couldn't move my head for 3 days. It was like rock hard. And my partner was trying to massage and he's like, oh my gosh, it's gone like concrete. So, I mean, I spent the first 2 days thinking, oh, well, maybe I could get someone to drive me. Teachers offered to come and drive me. And I was like, I did ask my body. On the 3rd day, I just cried because I was like, oh, well, there's my teaching job.
So you hadn't actually gone and got it, but you had the response in your body. Yeah, that's what happened. With many of us, Tanya, I would drive past one of the, shooting parlors. And honestly, my whole arm would go weird and I'd have this weird energy and it's like, oh my goodness me. Not my
I mean, I don't know. When I tell people that story, they think I actually took it, but I actually didn't take it. But what that shows to me is it would have taken me out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And feeling the energy of it myself in that respect to that. And like I say, there were quite a few of us around, the ones that I was talking with, who were experiencing it as like that as well. And I just, when I actually felt that, it was so toxic. It was like, oh my God, this is so not meant to be going into bodies. Not at all. Oh, was it? Oh man, that was a hard time, wasn't it? It was such a hard time.
And I don't know how, yeah. So I don't know how you felt, but I'm like, I see myself as a real empathetic, kind, open, quite vulnerable. Yeah, if I don't like something, I'll put a line in the sand.
Yeah,
But here I was being told that I was a bad, wicked, horrible, nasty person. I was like, oh my goodness. It's
yeah,
like a real attack on my core being.
exactly. And do you know what it took me back to? It took me back to when I was in my early teens and I had been having spirit stuff all my life, right? As a kid, spooky as, and then at nighttime in my room, like all this horrid shite that was happening. And then really seeing spirit and having them chat, you know, all the stuff. But when I was a teenager, it all started coming in. I don't know if it was more, I don't know. I think I was just trying, I was more, I felt like everyone saw that that was who I was, and I was trying to shove it away. I was trying to put this, you know, this facade, I suppose, pretend like I wasn't that person. And all of that was because of the judgment around me, that I wasn't normal, that I wasn't, you know, I was a freak of some sort. It was because in my years, I mean, I'm an old lady now, older lady now. And
Oh, come on, we're not that old.
I know, but you know, when you think back about the time change, holy hecka. So in that time, there weren't clairvoyant mediums, there weren't a lot of that going on. It was really under the radar, like heaps. So to pop my head up and say, this is what's happening to me, I couldn't. I just didn't feel that I could. So that took me back to the COVID time, took me back, all that rejection, not being allowed to go in cafes, you know, just absolute attacking us for our decision. Um, I had to go back into my teenage years and deal with some of the old stuff back there and the judgments that I'd had around, even from my brother growing up, you know, all sorts of things. So, yeah, but it was a tough time, definitely tough.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't know, but I do believe it's been cyclic for me. And I can look back at the cycles and the different eras of my life when things came back to face me again. And
Yeah.
it's, oh, okay, there's that pattern. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
there's that Tanya showing up again, you know. But
It's,
I mean, I've always been kind of, what do I say? Quite happy to be the nomadic gypsy, kind of flitting around.
yeah.
But instead of running away, I've had to stand up and face up. And probably in my younger years, I just chose to keep running.
Yeah, 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 I get that. I was, in a sense, because I didn't quite, I knew why I was here and what I was here to do, but I didn't have the formula right then to be able to put it into practice. So I was just flitting around, just senselessly doing whatever and filling in time. Really, it was like, I know my parents and people used to look at me, and I'm sure, I know they did, they used to think, what the hell is she doing, why is she not sticking to that, and why is she not doing this, and, oh my god.
And I'm probably in some ways still in a bit of that phase. I'm kind of flitting around, and yeah, I've got my sound bowls, I've got my book, I'm doing relief teaching, and I feel like the old way of me and the old way of the system is all kind of melting away.
Yeah.
And even the new way of doing stuff is shifting.
Yes.
I know that I'm learning some stuff about how to market and, you know, promote myself. And that's awesome. I love it. But I'm also trying to just trust that that's all shifting anyway.
Yes, it is, it is, that's it.
And to just trust myself more and more and show up however that is, you know,
Yes.
like,
Yeah, I get it. And because it's shifting all the time, like just in the experience I've had in the last couple of weeks, it's moved me into a new space, what that is. And it feels like we're all feeling, and I get this with a lot of people, are feeling like something's still going to drop in yet. You know, we're not through it in any way. We've only just started. So there's a lot of that shifting to happen, and more of us coming forward that we didn't know. You know, we
yeah,
might not
and I'm
know.
still getting to know.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And that's a fun part of it. I'm loving the recreating myself, you know, new, and allowing what even that needs to drop away to drop away. I used to hang on a bit, you know, and clutch it and no, but now it's like, yeah, sweet as we're on a roll here, and it's all
Mm.
gonna be for the best, you know.
And I also am really enjoying the non-attachment to the basically the costumes.
Yes.
So I'm putting on my teacher costume one day. I'm putting on my sound bowl costume another day. Oh my gosh. And the woman who's coming through in my sound voice, I don't even know her. She's like this. She's
Cool.
like, and my bowls, like they play me. It's like, wow, okay, cool.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and I'm really loving that aspect. But it's interesting because I was putting myself out into the bigger community and getting real kind of like, wow. And now I've just gone, okay, no, I can't open myself up that wide. I need to keep it intimate and small.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
the one that's coming through is very, very powerful, but still quite vulnerable. So
Mhm.
there's like a little bit of, I need to protect myself in that.
Yeah. 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 And that's a great thing to know, like, and not to rush it, because there's probably more parts of that to drop in yet that's going to, really compact it in there. It's beautiful. So your book, Be Free, My Girl.
Be
What
free.
Tell me about your book. I've been really keen to know about this. So
So
tell me.
basically, I wrote it for me.
Yeah.
And I wrote it for the little girl that was me, or
Yeah.
the little girl who grew up on the farm, who, believed in all the magic. And yeah, so basically, it is me, but then every page has the question. So like her heart was wild and free. She believed in the magic of life. In her imagination, she danced with the fairies, played giants with insects, and rode Santa's sleigh galloping across the night sky. Why, oh, why did adults not believe? So it's like a conversation starter for people. That,
Right.
that
Cool.
that's how I see it. Like yesterday, the kids love it because they're like, oh no, my mum, she plays in the waves. And so they're defending their parents, which is awesome. Or there's one where it's like, why do adults have to work so hard? Why can't we just be and create and make? And the kids are like, oh, because they have to make money. And I'm like, well, what if we didn't have money? So
Yeah.
I love it because for me, it's a great conversation starter.
Yeah, wonderful. That's really cool. When I saw the title, when you first got it published and it came up, I thought this is about you, and definitely you taking yourself back into that little girl, and I love that. I thought that was really cool because she, you know, um when we come back into our inner child, the little girl that was, or the little boy that was, there's still a lot of fear in there a lot of the time. There's still fears and things that we need to work through with them, but in general there was such an innocence and a playfulness and a strength within that play that was like, I'm going to break some barriers and borders with the play. So there's this courageous curiosity that's a part of the child, and I love that, and I thought your book's definitely going to have all that in it. I just knew. It was like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
And it has, and it is. It's like that whole, so I'm my authentic life accelerator. I've taken out the word authentic because I feel like everybody's jumping on the authentic bandwagon, and I'm
Yeah.
like, uh, I am authentic.
Mhm.
I don't need it in my title. And
Yeah.
then permission to play is like actually permission to play my bowls, permission to play full out as myself,
Yeah.
permission to be the kid in the adult body,
Yeah.
permission to play more. Like, where's the freaking fun and joy? I kind of got a bit lost in there. And now I just
Yeah.
want permission to play. And I want to give others more permission to play. It's
Yes.
to be fun.
I know. It took me a long time. um, I think because when I was a child, when I was younger, I was embarrassed to play. Like particularly, when it's sports day at school, you know, I could be me in the swimming pools, or we weren't round beach at that point. I grew up in the middle of the North Island, so it was inland farming, and so there wasn't. I think the play came out for me when I was on my own, when I'd go down to the creek, you know, when I'd talk with the fantail, when I was
Yes,
in
yes,
the
yes.
bush and just me on my own, where nobody was witnessing me or criticizing or judging. I could be in that playful space. But if I had to perform in front of someone on a, you know, sports level, or just even on the playground, if I saw that the teacher was, you know how they always have a teacher on out there, you know, keeping an eye on things. If I just saw the teacher even standing there looking at me in any way, then that would just put me off. I'd leave it for a while until I knew that she or he wasn't anymore, and then I'd go back to play. So I didn't like to be seen in that way, and I was always feeling like I never did it right, or there was judgment around it. So that was all that took me years. In my young teenage was terrible, and then in my young adult, I wouldn't play. Everything was quite serious, and I had humor. I liked humor and laughter, but I didn't actually physically go and play anything. So yeah, it took me a long time, even in workshops, to be able to dance and just let yourself be what you are in it, and, you know, even voice or sing or tone or any of that took me a long time. I had to really train myself out of the you know, judgments that might be put out there, and to public speak, holy moly. You know, I'd choke up, I'd get all embarrassed, and I'd lose my breath, and I'd have to make a joke to break the ice for me to be able to come out of that and stop, you know, to calm down, to be able to actually public speak. And the audience was always great. I'd always bring them into a joke, so that it, you know, make a joke of it so that we all laughed. And that would calm me down the way I'd be able to go then. But yeah, it took me a long time. Play's very important. It's really important to bring the child out again within us, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And that's interesting, because you just reminded me. So as a kid, I did speech and drama. So I was put on stage to perform, because I was like the drama queen. I've always been the drama queen. And interesting enough, I've always been kind of playful in my approach. Like,
Yeah.
even with the children in class, you know, I'm like, all aboard the train, everybody, come on. And like on the dance floor, I'm like the craziest dancer. But it's because there is an aspect of me that is really happy just off doing my thing. And I'll happily get up and do a public speech as well. Like, but that's cause possibly being a teacher is we're in front of people the whole time.
Yes, for sure. And you just reminded me, I actually did do drama. I love drama. I did. I really liked it. And I was in a big production at school. We did a one in the town hall. And you know, the town came to it. And I actually, what would happen for me, and this happened twice. One was in front of the class, in our class, and I was to play out this caveman. It was a caveman-y type scene. I don't quite know what we were up to with that. But honestly, Tanya, I lost time. I lost everything in front of me went. I became the character so much that there wasn't anyone else around. And I just came into it, and I played it out. And when I came out of that and I realized where I was and what I'd just done, which I don't even know what that was, I remember the teacher standing there going, "Wow, Mandy, that was amazing." And I'm like, I don't even know what that was. But I'd gone into a completely different space. I allowed it to come through me, obviously. And that's what happened on stage in that big production as well. So yeah, there's a part of you, obviously, of me that stepped aside that time and just allowed That was interesting, like
And
really interesting.
interesting enough too, you know, like I don't know how you got cast as that role or what put you in that role. I used to get cast in these really stupid roles quite often, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're the drunk prostitute," or "You're this, this, this." And don't put me in that role because that's. And then I would often do my own writing because when I did drama at university, we had to do a performance as one of our performance pieces. So
Yes.
when I do my own writing and do my own performance, there's a real seriousness, a real heart open, like boof. And same like you, the teacher was like, wow, wow.
It's
Oh,
funny.
I didn't know you could do that.
It
Like,
is. It's a funny thing. Yeah. I actually enjoy drama, and my grandson, who's a very, all the kids have anxiety and stuff today, don't they? And he had a bit of that, he decided in high school he was going to do drama. We were so shocked, but he loves it, and he's in all the productions, and yeah, it's interesting, eh?
what's
Bring
that?
brings us out in some way, but yeah. So what now, Tanya? What are you up to? How do people get in touch with you? All that stuff. What have you got? Anything exciting coming up?
So, I feel like so my house is on the market, and I feel divine timing is just out of my control at this point in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting. I'm not in the doctor's surgery waiting room, but I'm kind of in the waiting room, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a shift. I wish to. I have an online community every Monday night where I am bringing. There's three women who
Yeah.
join with me, and basically I've been guiding them back into the space, back into the heart open, calm, and we've been doing it for like I think it's 4 or 5 months now, maybe even longer,
Yeah.
since probably last year. And it's something that feels really nurturing and also bringing more awareness. So it's like Ted Steiner wrote this book, Awakening Together. So
Yeah.
I'm really, really wanting to set up a community where there's maybe 6 to 8. I don't know if that's too many, but people where we come together once a week. I'll do a guided meditation and then we just open into whatever's here. And
Yeah.
so sharing from that space, each person from their honesty, their truth, and just being seen in that.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So yeah, I'm kind of, I don't know. I feel like it's probably a good month or two away before I start that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to start another community of heart awakening, opening together, and continue my sound baths in home.
Mm.
I love doing that. I've got another one on Thursday night, so that's awesome. And yeah, I'm just
Mm.
trying to trust what shows up. So it's
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of floaty. But
It
that's
is that sort of time though at the moment, though, I have to say. And I was just saying the other day, it feels like we as a humanity zone have dropped into another layer or level. We've moved through something and we're now in that in between, that pause time. And however long we're there and whatever that means for us, I think it's a bit of an integration time and reset, and then settle in, and then something, it's that more will drop in. So it's offering that space for the new to settle in and come in again. It's awesome, but it's a continuation all the time.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a time for me not to force anything, because
No.
I'm just really coming back into some sort of strength again
Mm.
after feeling like, oh my gosh, my world was untethered.
Yeah.
Mm. And, looking at this whole equity and trust and Māori incorporation and setting up myself. So I really would love to put lots of boundaries in place for my move
Yeah.
and make sure that I can put out a non-trespass order on my property when I move into this, so that I can create a space that's real sacred. So in terms of my big wish is
Hmm.
that kind of space,
Yeah.
so this house will release when it's meant to, and that
Mm.
space will open up when it's meant to. So I'm just really working on enjoying some relief teaching, like good fairy,
Yeah.
flitting in, flitting out.
Lovely. That's
And
lovely.
every day one little kid comes up and just thanks me for seeing them.
Oh, that's so gorgeous. That's really beautiful.
It's beautiful for me as well,
Oh, of course it is. Absolutely. And that you hold that space for them, which is really, really beautiful, because I know when I was little and I recognized, I knew that my great grandmother saw me and she knew that I knew. And
Yeah.
it was a really, we didn't even say anything around that, speak about it, nothing, but I just knew that. And it was comforting to know that somebody saw me. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, Tanya. So gorgeous, you doing gorgeous work with these beautiful angels, because they're just such,
Yeah, they are.
they crack me up, these kids. They're so courageous and gutsy and sassy, and the little girls are such little princesses. Like, actually, yeah, they're really like that. And then you get the real hardcore girl, the tomboy girls. Oh, they're just so cute. I love them all. So yeah,
And
awesome time.
you know what I love about them is that real sense of trust.
Yeah.
They don't care. It's like,
No.
whatever.
Yeah, for sure, whatever. And they've got lots to teach us,
Oh, of course. I love
Yeah, yeah. It's beautiful. Oh, thank you so much for coming in and having this chat. It's been lovely, lovely, lovely. And all the very, very best with all of it for you, your book and your shift, selling the house, all that stuff. Um, yeah, it's not far away, but yeah, it's that's all good, whatever time it is, eh? But
yeah.
lovely, so cool. And yeah, thank you for all you do.
And thank you for speaking with me. Love it.
Me too. Awesome, Tanya. Much
Awesome.
love.
Bye.